In this video, we're going to make one of the Angry Birds red. It's just going to be a little cupcake topper. So it's going to be nice and simple, but it's quite a popular one to do, you see. So I've just got some Renshaw's modelling paste. Now, I'm just going to cut the end off mine because I've let it go hard because I haven't wrapped it up properly. So a lesson for everybody there from what I've done wrong. Make sure you've kept it well wrapped up, otherwise it will harden on the edges if it's open. You can use normal fondant, but sometimes I find it's a little bit soft and it doesn't keep its shape very well. So I'm just going to use the modelling paste. And it's ready dyed is this one, which is ideal for me. We're just going to start by kneading it a little bit to soften it. If you find it's a little bit hard or a little bit sticky, just add a little bit of Trex in with it, which is just vegetable shortening. So we're going to roll it to just create a nice little round shape like that, okay? Nice and simple. And what we're going to do now is using a bit more modelling paste, or again you can use normal fondant. I'm going to use a bit of white this time. And what I'm going to do is roll 2 circles for his eyes. This might be a little bit big, but we'll see. Take a little bit off each of these. And what I'm going to do is just flatten it down a little bit, like so. So I'll see how big they are against my face. So again, a little bit big, so we'll take them down in size. So that should be a little bit better now, size-wise. I don't know how well you can see those. And I'll just zoom in so you can see what I'm going to do, because we're going to cut them down at a bit of an angle, because sometimes he looks a bit like he's scowling. So just using a knife, we're going to cut an eye at an angle, and then we'll cut the other one at an angle to match. Just make sure you get it right to the edge. Okay, so there are our eyes for him. Just using a little bit of water, I'm just going to put it on the back of each eye. And then we're going to stick that about centre of the round body that you've just created. Okay, so we're going to add them on there. Now I've maybe added a tiny bit too much water. If you add too much water, you just find that it slides around a little bit. And taking the rest of my white that I've got, we're just going to dye it a slightly off-white, and I'm going to use a bit of a caramel ivory colour in it. So I'm just going to put a small amount of colour into my little bit of modelling paste. Mix that in. And what I'm going to do now is just roll it out nice and flat. I'm going to put a little bit of corn flour down so it doesn't stick. It's just in a pair of tights. I do have a video on making those. So we're going to roll this now nice and flat. So taking a round cutter, we're just going to cut that out. Just check size-wise that it fits on the body. Once you're happy that it does, just put a little bit of water on the back. And we're going to stick that on. We're going to leave a small gap under the eyes, and then we're going to stick that underneath like that. Just make sure you've stuck it on properly and there's no little creases on it. Now we need to dye a little bit of yellow for his beak. A tiny little bit of yellow. What I'm going to try and do is press down to create a little bit of a triangle shape, but so that it's kind of a 3D triangle shape. I don't know if you can see very well. So from that side, so I'm going to push down that side, so that it goes up in the centre. I'm not going to worry too much about this edge because we're going to cut that edge off. So we're going to cut about there to start with, and then we're going to hold it against our face to see size-wise if it fits. Now this is a little bit too big, so I'm just going to narrow it down a little bit, and then I'm going to cut it down a bit in size. Again, we'll just hold it against. Now that's a bit better, I think, for the size I want. So I'm just going to put a little bit of water on the bottom of it. And we're just going to stick that in place. It just comes to the bottom of the eyes, like that. And what we want to do now is we're going to do the same again for the bottom of the beak, but we're going to make it a little bit smaller than what we did for the top. So we're going to push that into our little triangle shape again. And we'll cut it down so it's a bit smaller. We'll just check again size-wise. Yep, and when you're happy with the size, we're just going to stick that on using a little bit of water. I'm going to push that underneath like so. So I don't know how well you can see that. So using my black, we're going to take 2 really tiny dots for his eyes. Now, if you can't get them small enough in fondant or modelling paste, don't worry, you can paint them on instead in edible food colouring. Again, I'm finding this bit quite tricky. So let's see if we've got them both a similar size. So they're similar in size. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of water onto his eyes where I'm going to stick them. And I'm going to try and pick those up and put them into his eyes. Just make sure you've not got too much water, otherwise the dye will come out of the black and spread into the whites of his eyes. So that's about right for what I want. Now I'm going to take another piece of black and I'm going to roll it out slightly, and I'm going to use these for his eyebrows. So we're going to cut a slight slant for his eyebrows, and again we'll cut another one for the top, and I'll hold that against his face so I can see how big that needs to be. We'll start by cutting here. If we need to cut more off, we can cut more off, that's fine. I think I'm quite happy with that size wise actually, so what I'm going to do now is just stick a bit of water on the back. And then we'll stick that onto his face just like that. Now, he needs a tail. What I'm going to do is just leave this to one side so we can add the tail last, because I'm resting him on his bum at the moment, which is where his tail needs to go. So we're going to take a little bit more of your red. With the red, we're just going to roll 2 little teardrop shapes. So there's one, I'll get the other one, there's 2. We're just going to stick those on top of each other like that. And what I'm going to do is put a little bit of water on the bottom, and then this is going to go onto the top of his head, like that. I don't know how well you can see that. For his little sprouts of feathers that come off the top of his head. And now we want black bits for his tail. So again, we're just going to roll it a little bit, it's still reasonably thick. And we're going to cut 3 triangles. They don't have to be particularly neat at this point. Okay, and we're just going to cut those a little bit shorter because they don't need to be as long as that. And I'm going to stick these 3 together just at the end. Now, if like me you're impatient, you might want to stick them straight on. If you've got more patience than me, you can wait while they've dried before sticking them on. Then they're nice and hard and they won't change shape. So we're just going to push those onto the back of it. I'm going to push mine on an angle so that you can see them a little bit from the front. Okay, and then I'm just going to let that dry. And then they make ideal cupcake toppers or cake toppers. You'll be able to see I have done a few more. So please do have a look at my other videos and pop over and see what I've got on my Facebook page as well. Thank you for watching.
If you liked this video and would like to see more, please click on the images of the other videos suggested. Also, please do subscribe to my channel using the button at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You can also visit my cake website and my Facebook page to see more cakes and ideas.